Welcome back. This video will provide an overview of the Audiogram Soap Notes area in HearForm Pro. This first video is one of 3 that will explain a little bit about the Soap Notes area within the Audiometric module. Let's go to the Soap Notes area. This video is a 30,000 foot view type of video that will cover very quickly a number of different features within the Soap Notes area. The video is not designed to give you great detail. Please see subsequent videos for that purpose. But I want to go very fast just to kind of give you an overview. Soap Notes are designed so that you can very quickly enter information into the system. The word SOAP is actually an acronym for Subjective, Objective, Assessment, and Plan. But essentially, we just want to save time when we create notes and reports to referring physicians or patients. So we do that by giving you a 13 category area here, starting with introduction, recommendations, etc. And each one of these categories will allow you to quickly enter information in a number of ways. Again, we'll cover that in a subsequent video. So keep in mind that this is fully editable. All of these different titles can be changed. Let's just cover that right now. So if I want, let's say I want to keep introduction recommendations, but let's say I don't want to use FDA anymore. Because as you know, with the OTC Act, FDA doesn't, the waiver is not required if you have a patient that's over 18, but you may want to keep that in if you deal with pediatric. But if I don't want that, and I want to use that category or button for something else, I'll click this button here and change that from FDA to something else. And then I can use that tab for other purposes. So let's look at a typical tab here. We have a title, a category title. So if I wanted to use that for some other reason, I would type the title in there in addition to titling the button itself right there. So I would put in my category title, I would put in an explanation if desired, and that goes to the patient or caregiver, not to the physician. But as you know, a physician may understand what otoacoustic emissions is, a patient may not, so you may want to put in an extra sentence or paragraph right there, which will merge into the special report for the patient. And you can just set that up right there. Then you can put in defaults, and what I mean by that is that we often say the same kinds of things in reports for a patient based on certain circumstances, and rather than having to type all of that information in again, I can click a button right here and it automatically puts whatever is in this field into the report field. Now what we're going to do is essentially take these 13 categories, I may not use them all, but whichever ones have been used, I'm going to enter that information one at a time, and then I'm going to combine those sentences or paragraphs into a final report. So we're just taking parts and putting them together into a report. So as you'll see, one of the ways we can enter information, let's go back to our introduction area here. We can enter information by clicking a button, and that will enter those default comments. Please put whatever you'd like. Of course, this is just a sample. Another way is to insert, depending on the tab or the screen that you're on, it's appropriate for each. For example, otoscopy, audiology, and speech and immittance may have different kinds of options than the introduction area. But I can click a button here and it gives me a partial sentence. The patient's name and age was seen at whatever the assigned office location is here on this date, the date of the test, for what reason? Well, you could just start typing after that if desired, or you can come up here to a drop-down list of choices, and I'll just choose one, and notice that it adds that or appends that to the end of that previous sentence. So it makes it a little bit easier. These drop-down lists of choices will be a tremendous time saver for you, and you can set those up very easily by clicking this button right here. And I'll make this fit within our video window. But as you can see, you can kind of scroll down and put these in a certain way, order, and they're all ranked off to the side here so that 1 through 100 or 1,000, however many you have, will be visible on here. Depending on your computer, if you have a whole lot of them, then that may bog down your computer if you have an older computer, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to close that, and again, I can use the samples that are in here, or I can set up new ones, and that's done by clicking this button right there. Let's go to the history area here. I can, for example, insert my default comments, or once again, choose from a drop-down list of choices, but I also have some options as far as bullet points. So if you click this button here, then you can say no bullet points, with no returns, with one return, with 2 returns, etc. Let's just try that with 2 returns and see how that looks. So if I choose this option, it's giving me a bullet point there, and a separate bullet point, and a separate bullet point. So that's just something else that you can play around with if you want to use bullet points in your report. Okay. Under recommendations, again, I don't remember if I left that on there. Let's show you that you have all these different recommendations to customize there. But once I do that, I'm going to choose a recommendation here, and there are no bullet points on that because I turned that off to no. So those bullet points will work under most of these screens. You can play around with it. I can clear, it asks me if I want to, I can clear that field. And over here, I can exclude comments from the final report. Now, why would I do that? Let's say that I wanted to put some information like this for my benefit. I want that to stay with the patient record, but I don't want the physician to see that in their report for some reason. It may not be appropriate for their needs. Or I may want to just exclude that from the patient report. So checking those boxes there will allow you to keep the information in the report area, but not put that on the final report if desired. So that will help you a little bit there. Let's go over to the Immittance screen here, and I want to show you that if you click the headphone button on some screens, then you're presented with the option to, I don't have many scores on here, but for example, clicking that button will put the scores in kind of a sentence or paragraph format. So I can click there. I'll click a few that don't even have scores, just as an example here. So I can click those, and it kind of fills it out, and that kind of looks nice. So I can see that in a format that might make sense. And again, you can put return marks on there if you don't like it that way. Let's go over to speech, and you'll see that there's also a paragraph there, and I could say word recognition or bilaterally, MCL, UCL, whatever it is. So just by clicking those buttons, it puts the information in and makes it a little bit easier for you to create that report, and perhaps even easier for the physician to read that. So we have that under a variety of different screens here. I don't have a whole lot of information in this sample, but I think you get the idea. Now I can also insert audiometric results, and in this case, let's just do that again by clearing that and starting over. So here it says Pure Tones results were obtained using headphones or inserts or whatever you had set under the start area. Testing revealed a reverse slope sensorineural hearing loss. Again, whatever is under the air conduction screen will merge onto this area in a sentence form. So the information you enter once will not have to be entered again. It makes it a little bit easier. And let's see, I think this will be somewhat self-explanatory. You can set these up just so that they work exactly right for you. And then when we get to the send area, there's a separate video that will cover all of this, but you'll be able to send a report to the physician separately than the patient. And again, we'll cover that in a subsequent video.